one to watch. This is 16 WAPT News Live at 5.
New video tonight of a sexual assault accuser's run for safety, plus searching for an arsonist in Hazelhurst. Exclusive pictures you'll only see on 16 WAPT. And 2 hours until the polls close and the counting begins in the race for Jackson's next mayor. Here's a live look at Trustmark Park in Pearl. Ole Miss and Mississippi State take the field for the Governor's Cup in about an hour and a half. It's a beautiful night to watch some baseball. Chief Meteorologist David Hartman is here now with weather first.
Well, it is going to be a beautiful night because on the Capitol Tower, Skycam clearing right on schedule late this afternoon. The clouds are pushing out of the area. Dry air is coming in. Temperatures are going to be perfect for baseball. Well, not only baseball, but anything you want to do outside. Enjoy the evening. I have a pretty good forecast for a couple days coming up.
David, thanks. New tonight, live at 5. The two teens charged in a violent carjacking and sexual assault went back to court to face more than a dozen new charges.
And 70 for the first time, we are seeing how the 29-year-old victim in this case managed to get away. We want to warn you, some of the details may be graphic to hear. 16 WAPT's Andrew Kinsey shows us why police believe the teens may be connected to a long and violent crime spree.
A 13-year-old Remy Harvey and 16-year-old Eddie Devine silent Tuesday outside the Hinds County jailhouse.
Did you rape that woman?
This weekend, police arrested both teens accused of a violent carjacking and sexual assault. Now police think they could be connected to a rash of crimes. In this incident report obtained by 16 WAPT News, the 29-year-old female victim explained what happened to her Saturday. For nearly an hour, she was held against her will at gunpoint by the two teens. She claims the teens ambushed her in the parking lot of her apartment complex. Then the victim says they forced her into her own car and hit her in the head with a gun. The woman told officers they sexually assaulted her with an ice pick and handgun several times before she finally escaped. A surveillance video from the S-Mart on North State Street shows two males trying to gas up the victim's car with her in the back seat. Before they could finish, you can see the woman pop out of the car door and run inside the store for safety. You can see one of the teens almost gets left behind after the driver pulls off.
Police say the new charges against the two young suspects stem from incidents reported over the past month at separate apartment complexes here along Northside Drive. In each case, the tactics were similar to Saturday's attack. The victims, all women. Anything to say about the charge against you?
Now together, the teens are facing almost 24 charges, ranging from kidnapping and auto theft to sexual battery. In Jackson, Andrew Kinsey, 16 WAPT News.
Well, a judge refused to set bond for both of those suspects. We have learned the victim is still in the hospital tonight. New tonight, the Hinds County Sheriff says deputies made dozens of arrests in their Easter weekend crime sweep.
They were able to affect a lot of search warrants as well as go to a lot of the hot spots to include clubs.
At Operation Bunny Hop, a multi-agency task force rounded up 147 suspects, 52 of them on felonies, 60 misdemeanors, and 22 more were drug arrests. The sheriff says they found 14 pounds of pot, 8 grams of cocaine. But after a riot shut down part of the Hinds County Detention Center, we asked Sheriff Tyrone Lewis where he'll put all of those suspects.
Again, we have relationships with our partners around the metro area. Those that we considered to be problematic, then we use our sister agencies to house them there. Other than that, we're capable and we're very well staffed.
Well, the sheriff told us that all of the items confiscated during the operation can be used by the sheriff's department. Police in Hazelhurst on the hunt for an arsonist tonight, Stephanie.
Yeah, Megan, they say someone set several sections of Walmart in Hazelhurst on fire. 16 WAPT's Jamie Eswick shows us some exclusive pictures from inside the store.
Taken seconds after a fire starts inside of the Walmart in Hazelhurst. This as a fire rages through the toy section and one of the clothing sections in the store.
This was a mischievous act, arson, and we working very aggressively to find the ones that are responsible for doing this act here.
These exclusive pictures sent to 16 WAPT by a viewer show the smoke billowing over one clothing rack. Employees jumped into action, grabbing fire extinguishers, dousing the burning items and flames. This as firefighters pull up and rush into action themselves.
Investigators and police spent the evening inside looking at video to try and figure out who set the fire. Meanwhile, employees told to stay outside.
Outside of the store, burnt up clothing and other items. Firefighters say employees had to drag this out and douse it with the extinguisher, too. As for injuries, luckily, none. In Hazelhurst, Tammy Eswick, 16 WAPT News.
We've learned a worker was taken to the hospital for smoke inhalation. She is out of the hospital tonight. Well, tonight, Ole Miss and Mississippi State are facing off in the Governor's Cup. 16 WAPT Scott Simmons is live at Trustmark Park. Scott.
Yeah, tough job. Somebody's got to do it. Ole Miss and State fans finding their way to Trustmark Park here. They've already sold more than 7,000 tickets for this big game. They can have about 8,400, and that's with a lot of standing room, which they do plan to have tonight. State doing batting practice right now. Ole Miss in the field warming up. A big crowd, of course, because this is the Governor's Cup. They are actually tied in the series, with Ole Miss winning 10 of the last 15 just to get to that tied record. Tonight, they're expecting a great crowd, a lot of excitement, and we'll be here to cover it for you. Aslan's here and have all the sports covered, too. Live at Trustmark Park, Scott Simmons, 16 WAPT News.
All right, Scott, we appreciate it. Mississippi public school teachers are getting a pay raise for the first time in 7 years. Governor Phil Bryant signed a teacher's salary increase bill this morning. It gives teachers a $2,500 raise over the next 2 years starting in July. There's also a merit pay provision for improving and high-ranking schools. The Mississippi Association of Educators supports this new law.
It's a good start, and hopefully it will encourage some of those persons that are seeking to become teachers, that not only will this happen one time, but going forward, the state will continue to provide increases as other states do.
Well, that law also increased the starting salary for new teachers in the state. Right now, voters are out at the polls to pick the capital city's next mayor. Chokwe Antar Lumumba and Tony Yarber are facing off in the runoff election. 16 WAPT's Tammy Eswick joins us live from the polling precinct off Lakeland Drive. And Tammy, those polls close in 2 hours.
Election commissioners say no major problems at the polls throughout Jackson today. Now, we're actually on Lakeland Drive at precinct number 7. A steady crowd of people have been coming in here all day long. Now, as far as voter turnout so far, election commissioners say it's been steady, but they say they are expecting a bump from last time.
Now, last time, we only got about 30% of registered voters to turn out and vote. What do you think that percentage is going to be this time?
Last time we got 32% of voter turnout. We are estimating at least 40% this time. We're hoping for at least 50, but we are estimating definitely at least 40% this time.
Charles Tillman, what he plans on doing next as he gives up his seat as mayor. And remember, you still have time to get out to the polls. They don't close until...
All right, it looks like we lost Tammy Eswick there, but as she was saying that those polls close at 7 o'clock, we want to remind you to stay with 16 WAPT and WAPT.com all night for your election coverage. We'll have those up-to-the-minute results tonight on WAPT.com. Once again, the polls close at 7 o'clock. The Hinds County Sheriff's Office spoke out today about an officer-involved shooting over the weekend. Megan.
Yeah, 70. This shooting happened Saturday night. Deputies told us they were conducting a drug bust when one of the suspects tried to hit a deputy with his car. That's when the deputy opened fire. Now, we first reported we were told the suspect had his arm shot off. We asked the sheriff about that today.
We're told the suspect lost an arm. Is that true?
That is not true. The suspect has underwent surgery and looking to go on into another surgery, but all of his vital signs are there. He's in stable condition, and he has all of his limbs.
The sheriff's department tells us the deputy is out of the hospital now. When the suspect is released, they say they will arrest him. The Yazoo teenager rescued moments before the car she was in caught fire is now out of the hospital and back at home. 19-year-old Latoya Goins was riding in this car when the driver lost control and ran off the road. 17-year-old Jasmine Johnson died in that crash. The Clinton Police Department is upping the number of officers on their streets. They've recently gone from 40 officers on staff to 50, and they hope to add another 10 officers. Clinton's police chief says the extra police presence is making a difference. Burglaries are down 42% in Clinton compared to this time last year. Turning now to Ukraine, the president has ordered security forces to resume anti-terror operations after an attack by Russian insurgents. Stephanie.
Yeah, Megan, that move comes hours after a visit from Vice President Joe Biden. 16 WAPT's Nicole Killian is live in Washington, where the vice president is just returning. Good evening, Nicole.
Hey, good evening to you, Stephanie. And these incidents in Ukraine are just another sign that a deal to stop this crisis may be falling apart.
In the highest level U.S. visit since the unrest broke out, Vice President Joe Biden met with Ukraine's leaders, pledging support.
We stand with you. And it is not just a foreign policy judgment. It is a personal, it's an emotional commitment as well by millions of Americans.
The vice president announced an additional $50 million, including money for military assistance and elections next month.
The goal of the government is to conduct fair and transparent elections.
Back in Washington, the Pentagon also announced it would increase its presence in the region, deploying 600 troops to the Baltics for exercises.
If there's a message to Moscow, it is the same exact message, that we take our obligations very, very seriously.
The DoD statement and Biden's visit comes less than a week after Ukraine and Russia agreed to stem the crisis, but both sides have yet to fully comply as pro-Russian forces continue to occupy Ukraine's government buildings, and Ukraine's interim president ordered a new anti-terror operation amid more violence.
What we need is for all parties to de-escalate, and there are a specific range of steps that Russia agreed to last Thursday, and we need to see more action on their behalf.
And the administration is warning of more sanctions against Russia, but Russia's foreign minister dismissed the threat as an ultimatum. Reporting live in Washington, Nicole Killian, 16 WAPT News.
All right, Nicole, thank you so much. All right, we've got David back here with us. As you said, nice tonight for those fans in Pearl.
Clearing out. Evening temperatures probably falling to the 65 to 70 degree range. Very comfortable. Now, look at the next week. This is something we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Temperatures generally above average and a nice string of 80-degree weather. We got a nice little warm snap. How about that? I'll take your forecast. I'll also tell you when our next rain chance is as well. Coming up.
All right, David. The mystery continues. Investigators trying to figure out how a teen could have gotten past security and inside a plane's wheel, plus powdered alcohol. Why this new product could be delayed getting to the market. You're watching 16 WAPT live at 5.
It's election night, and 16 WAPT News is the one to watch. Up-to-the-minute numbers on WAPT.com. Your comments and conversation on Facebook, and expanded team coverage live at 10. 16 WAPT News, the one to watch.